So I've been working in a supermarket for about a year now. I've done night fill managing, just general night fill, regular grocery shifts, storeman shifts, which are basically the person who accepts deliveries. And what I wanted to talk about today was whether working in a supermarket is actually as bad as some people make it out to be. So let's get started. Good morning everyone and welcome back to the channel. So yeah, I have two jobs right now. I'm working my remote job and I'm working in a supermarket just because the remote job is ending fairly shortly. I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I'd be rushing to find another job. But that's not important to the video. I'll talk about what it's like working two jobs and doing uni at the same time some other time, and yeah, we'll save that for then. But anyway, so I think one of the big things a lot of people complain about is customers. And honestly, I don't really have a problem dealing with customers. Generally, if you're relatively nice and you actually try to help them, most customers aren't that rude. You have the occasional one. It's not even occasional really, it's kind of just rare, at least for me, where they are kind of just terrible people. But for the most part, most of them are just normal people, and if you act nicely, then yeah, you can pretty much have no problem with them. So one thing that I will give people is that the work is absolutely mind-numbing, but to be fair, that might honestly be a good thing. Because every time I have one of my night fill shifts, because I've been working there for so long now, I know where everything goes. So I use the time generally to just think about stuff, and it makes the time go by way faster. Another way I deal with the night fill shifts is if I just think about them as a gym session, they go by real fast. And they kind of are, because there is a lot of heavy lifting in most of them, unless you're put in like the health and beauty section, you're lifting like deodorant cans. But for most of the sections, there is some stuff that's generally relatively heavy, and yeah, you can just think about it as a gym shift and it's not too bad. So when it comes to night fill managing, it's not really much different from just regular night fill. You just have a team to worry about. I didn't have a problem with managing. The problem was you don't really get paid enough to justify it. You get paid like maybe $1 more. And yeah, I did it for 3 or so months, and then I got my remote job, so I was like, I need to cut back on my hours, so I dropped back to a regular night fill, and someone else ended up taking that position. But while I was managing, the job was pretty much just regular night fill, except I had a few extra jobs to do, and I had 8-hour shifts where I had to split the load that would come in and put it onto cages. But apart from that, it's basically the same thing. Storeman shifts. They are horrible, not because they are hard, but because I have to be up at 5 in the morning. I start at 5 in the morning, so I had to be up at like about 4 in the morning to get like breakfast and stuff, and then head off to work. The storeman job, not too difficult, but actually getting up at that time is probably the biggest thing that was stopping me from actually even slightly enjoying that work. So with the storeman shifts, basically what I had to do was accept deliveries, empty the rubbish, fill some random stock that was there from last night, and pick up the stock from last night as well. And that's basically it. And I guess there was a couple other filling jobs I had to do, but mostly it was accepting deliveries. So I would say the biggest difference between the night fill work and the storeman work is the level of customers that you have around. So at least for my store, you start at 8 PM when you do night fill shifts. So there's about an hour until the store closes. So you have a couple of customers, but unless it's a Thursday, the level of customers is so much lower than the storeman shifts, because those start at 5 in the morning, go to about 2 PM, which is generally the busiest part of the day. So during the storeman shifts, whenever you're out on the floor, you're constantly getting stopped by customers asking you stuff, especially when you're in the popular aisles. But still, dealing with those customers is not really that bad unless you're really, really strapped for time. And most of the time with the storeman shifts, you're not, because they're not that demanding and you don't have that much work to do. So you can generally spend a bit of time helping the customers if they need any help. So for the general grocery shifts, they're pretty much just night fill shifts, but during the day, and there's more customers, so there's not really much to talk about there. There's the same problem with the storeman shifts where you're constantly getting stopped by customers. As I've stated earlier in the video, that's not really that big of a deal. So I would say that if this was my first job, I probably would have hated it. But coming from working at McDonald's, which I will talk about in a separate video, what it's like working in fast food. So coming from McDonald's, this is so much easier. I would never go back to working in fast food compared to this. I don't know why people complain. I think it's just the fact that if you get this as your first job, most people look back on their first job and like, oh, my first job was horrible, it was so hard. But if you have a point of reference to compare it to, honestly, it's not that bad. It's really simple work. Maybe if you work in the deli or in the bakery, I guess, it's probably a bit harder if you're actually in a directly customer-facing position working as a cashier. But anything else, I don't really think people should be complaining about. So if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon below if you want to see more from my channel. And also remember to share it with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it. I think that's pretty much everything for this video. I'm going to do another one of these on what it's like working in fast food. It's not going to be as optimistic as this video, so keep your eyes out for that one. So I reckon that's pretty much everything, so I'm out.